Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Needs More Drums back with another City Skylines video in our Los Baterias region in our city of Percusion at the moment, which is our still growing but and only city on the map currently because we don't have any of the other tiles unlocked to expand. So this is what we got to work with. So today I actually have a objective for what I want to get done in the episode. It is finally time, I think, to start expanding out the going upwards and making rezoning some of this to high density, because as of now we actually can't buy any more tiles to expand out the city, and I want to save this whole area down here for start moving the industry over here. And this area I'm not too sure what to do with yet. I'm thinking about either making a residential area or even maybe thinking about putting like a trade school or, some kind of university over here kind of on the outskirts of town. So we'll see, about that in a future episode, but I want to leave that open for now. And then, these hills are a little bit steep, and I will probably, somebody suggested in a comment, maybe making like a, upper class, more of a wealthier area in the hills, kind of some, a wealthy suburb. And I think that is a fantastic idea, and I'm definitely going to do that at a later time. But for now, given the space that we have to work with, I'm kind of trying to keep a majority of the city within these boundaries here. So I think this is a perfect time to start converting some of these areas in the downtown to some more higher density zones. And then after that, we should be able to start, detailing up some of these areas and making this part of the city really look a lot nicer than what it does right now. As you can see, there's a lack of trees and any other kind of detail. And, I just kind of zoned some of these areas out early on to get the city expanded, but haven't spent too much time and come to revisit these areas. So let's start by zoning out some high density. And then the second thing that I want to do in the episode is, if we have some time left, which I'm sure that we will, I want to improve some of the city services, because I was looking around and noticed that there are like literally, I think there's only one fire station in the entire city. I know education is pretty decent, but it's time to look at fire, police, and definitely medical. I think I only have one clinic as well. So seeing where we want to upgrade some of those services and making this a better place to live for our virtual citizens. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right in. All right, so the first area that I want to focus on is really in this downtown Percusion right here by the river. So the first place that I want to upgrade is right across over here from the school. These few blocks right here I think are going to be perfect for some high density zoning. And given that I do kind of want the city to have a little bit of European influence, I think that a lot of, like I said in a previous episode, a lot of European cities, from what I can tell, sort of lack a larger amount of low density suburbs compared to what we might see here in the United States. So going through and kind of making some high density areas a little bit closer to the outskirts of the city, I don't really feel too bad doing that, because that would be a thing that you would probably find in a European style city. And I think we have plenty of room to do that here. So maybe, going through and kind of making all this high density might not be the worst thing for now, since this is going to be our downtown area. And then, I'm sure we'll have some suburbs in a different spot. I mean, we'll keep this area will be predominantly suburbs, as will some of these areas out here. But yeah, we could expand out the high density a little bit more. So I think I'm actually going to go up to this main road for now. And this neighborhood, I kind of am not touching this for right now, because I have sort of an idea of what this might turn into, and it might not stay residential forever. So we're going to leave this for now and come back to that later. And I do like what we did here with this high density zone. I think that looks a lot better. And again, I'm kind of unsure about what actually happens with leveling up with high density. So I think I might have to go through and delete some of these buildings just to get them to pop up. So we'll do that in a little bit. But yeah, and then here I kind of want to make, I'm thinking, what do I want to make some high density zones? I'm wondering if I should have sort of another main road that kind of comes through here. So maybe, yeah, I think since this is our commercial zone here, this is a main road, this might turn into a bit of a main road. So I'm actually going to have some high density around these parts as well. And that way, this can be its own little neighborhood. Yeah, and now we can just kind of go through and do what I always hate the most and just delete. Get rid of all these people's homes, sadly. But, you know, is what it is. I think in this, I actually don't think I have the... No, I do not. My medium building. And actually, these for now, I actually want to go ahead and go for the high rises. Since this is our downtown, I'm going to allow those to develop as well. Just well, these are kind of going up. Just going through, deleting some of these for now, sadly. Sorry guys, I love these homes, but we have plenty other, a lot more space for these guys. All right, so all these poor people are forced to evacuate their homes because we just demolished them all. There are plenty of new ones being built in their place, so that's good. We can get some more population and hopefully reach our next milestone pretty soon. So yeah, so those are the actually, let me go through and have these guys get upgraded as well. And I know it's kind of nice with the trees here, so I might just leave the trees and see kind of how everything looks. Yeah, take that back. All these trees are grown into the building, so probably gonna get rid of these for now, and we'll add them back later when we actually know what we want to, when we actually start detailing these areas, which I think is actually safe to do in the next episode, since we'll have more of an established area of where our, or more of an established idea of where our high density zones are going to be, so that way we can come back. All right, so these are developing. I'm actually going to go through, I think these areas here can also be high density as well, kind of coming along this main road behind the commercial zones. I think that this would be a nice spot, so we're going to go ahead and rezone these areas too, just because they're kind of by a busier area, kind of by more of a main road. And then I'm going to leave this as actually low density for now. Kind of like, you know, having a bit of a suburb, especially given where this is at in comparatively to the downtown. So that will be a very nice spot right here. Gonna delete these homes as well. All right. So now that that is done, oh, I actually forgot to get rid of these as well, because this is an area that I want to be high density right along the river. That's a great spot for some apartments. And for now, I'm gonna leave these for now and to see if they develop, but I doubt that they will. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, since all this is gonna develop for now, we'll leave that alone. And our commercial demand is actually getting quite high, so I'm wondering if there are some spots maybe where we could upgrade to even some high density commercial. And I'm thinking right here along the river might be a good spot to do that. So I'm actually going to go ahead and upgrade some of these as well as high density commercial, even though we're still kind of, some of the low density commercial buildings look surprisingly dense, they get pretty big, like this one, could be considered almost a high density building. So we already have some, especially as they level up. But for now, this is going to be a nice change from the old buildings. All right, awesome. So with all this development going on, let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit. I want to, like I said, look at some of our city services and make sure that everything is running smoothly, which at the moment it is definitely not. So first, I want to check out our fire department situation, and yes, we only do have one at the moment, so that's very sad. I definitely think that we should add some more. And I actually have this awesome, I got all of these assets, these mid-century modern assets from Revo that go well with his new what do you call it, his new creator content DLC. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put down this firehouse. We could use one up here over in this suburb in this side of the city, and this is perfect because this is right by all of our mid-century modern buildings. And so where we're going to put this, I would like to put it somewhere that's close to a main road, but not quite on one. And I think that this is looking like a great spot, maybe right here. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and put this right there. Get rid of these couple of houses, and then, as per usual, I'd like to add a few trees next to this. And we'll come back and, detail this up later on. But for now, that'll give us a nice, way better fire coverage for this section of the city. And now the next place is the east side over here. Want to check out if we have adequate coverage here, which we do not. And this whole area is kind of subject to change, so I'd like to avoid putting too much here. But I think I can at least put something down, maybe over there. And let me just see what fire station I have over here. I think that's this one. Yeah, so I'll use this one for now. And yeah, I'll put something down, maybe like just right here for now, since this is kind of a nice spot. And it's a empty spot, so always room for development there. Perfect. All right, and I know a lot of the buildings look the same at the moment, but that's because a lot of the vanilla buildings just don't look that great in my opinion. They look a little bit unrealistic, so I like to just kind of pick out the ones that I think look more realistic, and then as they level up, we'll get some variety. But right now, since a lot of these are probably just all level 1, we're not going to have a lot of variety in the building. So this is just something that you got to keep in mind when you're starting a new city, especially if you're playing relatively vanilla and you're not plopping down every single building. And especially even more so if you're using building themes mod, a lot of your buildings might look the same for quite a while until things start leveling up. And like here, for example, we have a little bit of variety, which is kind of nice. Like here, a couple different bungalow homes and mixed with the college content creator pack. Got some different things going on over here, so that's kind of cool. And it's like I said, when we detail this up, get some bigger trees, kind of hide some of the similarities. This will really look, I think, a lot better. So looking forward to that in the future. But for now, back to our objective. Next thing is the police situation, which is actually looking pretty good. I don't think we really need one over here at the moment, just because we have 2 police stations over here, and then there's not a whole lot of development going on over here, so this should be good for now. But the one thing that I do need to put another one down is some sort of medical facility, like a clinic. And I think a hospital would be a little bit overkill, since our city is not super populated yet, and plus I like to sort of have I need a bigger footprint for a hospital, and I'm thinking maybe somewhere over here, once this industry starts to kind of get out of the way, this would be a great spot for a hospital. Maybe even right here I could put one down in the not so distant future. Maybe sooner rather than later, that'll be a great asset to have, because I mean, if we put one down here, yeah, this would cover literally all of this and some of this too. It would be probably pretty good for the downtown. So yeah, we'll think about that in a little bit. But for now, let's just go back over to this side and maybe put down another mid-century modern building here. But the mid-century modern clinic is looking like a pretty good choice, I think, right now. And we could put that, I don't know, to be honest, I think it wouldn't look too bad right by this bridge here, sort of just off of the main road. Plenty of space. I think this is going to be perfect right here. And then this will take care of this whole. What's nice about this is it has about 50% more coverage than does the medical clinic. Well, actually, I take that back. It has 100% more coverage at 50% more of the cost. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck in terms of a per patient cost, which is very nice. And the upkeep is not substantially more either. So this is actually a really, really good financial decision for us to put this clinic sort of over here by in this area, because it gives a nice coverage of all this. And so that is going to work out really well for us, I think. All right. Well, that seems like a good spot for those couple of things. Our city services are in a much better place. And we have adequate fire coverage now and way better medical coverage, which is awesome. So I think the next thing that I would like to look at is clearly our high school capacity could use a little bit of a boost. And I actually forgot that we only have one high school at the moment. So maybe putting another one in would be a very, very good decision on our part. And I think I may have found just the place for that. I know we have an elementary school right here, but it wouldn't hurt to sort of change this area here maybe into a little bit of a high school area. I think this is, by a couple of main roads. We have the fire station right here. I can convert these buildings into maybe something else, like some apartments, a couple of apartments or something, or even just an open area would be fine. But I think I'm actually going to go ahead and do this right now and get rid of this whole area here and turn this into a nice little high school. And these high schools are actually really nice. I got these from the workshop. There's a series of, I forget who the author is, but same with the fire stations that I have. He made a bunch of Toronto-based high schools and elementary schools and fire stations and other city service buildings that just look great if you're trying to get like a nice North American feel for your city. So I highly recommend, checking those out if you haven't already. And I'm actually going to go ahead and this actually worked out quite well because now I can go ahead and turn this road into sort of a smaller little entryway for the high school. And that will give us a very, very nice secluded drive into this school right in this nice suburban neighborhood. And then here I'm actually going to put a little bit of parking, which always is definitely needed especially in a area such as this. And there we go. Now we have a nice little high school area here. And actually, no, I'm actually going to go ahead and add that fence along here as well. Oh, not that one. There we go. Perfect. Right, that's a lot better. Now it's kind of a little bit more secluded back here. And this is super nice for this new high school. All right, cool. So now that solves a bit of our education problem. And now I think only one problem remains, and that is, of course, our trash problem. I want to go ahead, and I have this asset that I downloaded, which would instantly solve all of our issues. And I want to place it down because I think that a whole waste management facility is needed here, and we kind of have it on a very small scale. And I don't like to really rely too much on landfill. So having this asset is a big recycling center. It'll take care of all of our trash needs. And then later on, we can maybe add an additional waste processing complex, either there or somewhere else in the city, maybe on this side, since this will be since this isn't really getting the best coverage. But for right now, I think this is definitely definitely going to help. And this will also expand our coverage. As you can see here, this reaches out farther out to this edge of the city. And especially now that our population is growing with our higher density, I can justify this purchase. So I'm going to stop explaining why we actually need this, and I'm just going to commit because we do need this. Oh, this is actually cool. I actually didn't know that the landfill asset is terrain conforming. So as you can see, as I flatten the terrain, it moves with it. So that's actually good to know. I didn't know that I can do that, because now I can build those on some different hillsides and stuff. So that's really cool. Awesome. A big $80,000 investment. Gonna go ahead and plop this down right here. So that will greatly help our garbage production. And then for this guy, I'll actually use my favorite recycling truck, since this is a recycling center. Can't forget to add some water. And while this is a waste processing facility, since it is a recycling center, I'm actually going to go ahead and detail this up just a little bit. It's going to put down a couple of trees. That looks quite nice, actually, I must say. So yeah, so that's a nice little modern solution to a pretty modern problem, I guess. But all right, so look at that. All of our city services are now in the green, with the exception of fire, because trees don't help, and so we're just gonna ignore that. But the city is covered for the most part, except for this northern suburb. But I'm thinking, I guess actually I could use a fire station up here while we're at it. I know it's gonna mean getting rid of a home, but I think that's just what we're gonna have to do. So I think this guy's his house is looking like it might be a pretty good spot for one. So I think I'm gonna have to get rid of you, sir. I'm so sorry, but that's okay. He can move to one of the much more upgraded and nicer apartment living options in the city. All right, so that solves that problem. Now, actually, that really helped our coverage as well. Awesome. Yeah, it's just the fire hazard. I mean, the forests don't help, but it does look like at least our buildings are covered for the most part. So that is a huge help. All right, well, our money situation is we had a lot of capital spending going on just now, so that we'll get a little bit better. We're gonna have to wait to bring in some more funds before we do any other significant expansion. But I would say that's off to a very nice start for our high density, and kind of building our city upwards while utilizing the space that we have. And we're pretty close to the next milestone. Oh yeah, we're very close. So yeah, I think as some of these buildings develop, and as you can see, our residential demand is pretty low. So as this increases and we still fill up some of these high density, I could keep demolishing some of these and turn this into some high density zoning, which I'm actually going to do now, since the other ones seem to be pretty developed already. That way we'll hopefully hit that milestone in a minute. I'm very happy with where we are at for right now. And the next thing that I actually want to do is maybe, let me see if I have the money for it. No, I don't yet. So I think in the next episode, what I want to do is, we have a pretty high industrial demand, and I think it's about time to start moving some of our industry over to this area, especially since we now have access to the cargo train station, which I want to place one of those down here. And actually what we could do now, since this is relatively inexpensive, is I want to expand our ore area so we can make this a little bit more of a pronounced industry in our city. So putting down another raw material storage will be very useful. And then also I wanted to expand this out and make another processing facility. So I saw somebody left a comment. I thought it was really funny, where they were like, oh man, when you're making this ore area, I just, you have more patience than me. I just go ahead and completely flood the entire area with the raw materials and just, use all of the sources, all of the resources available. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually, not a bad idea, to be honest, because, you might as well make use of everything that you got. But since we are playing with money on, it's just a little bit unobtainable to rely, to just go straight to plopping down as much as we can. We still have to be conscious of our finances, and let the area expand a little more organically rather than just trying to place everything down as soon as possible. Because then, what we'll probably come to realize is that we won't have enough population to support the demand for work, and then we'll kind of be stuck in a weird spot trying to, bring people into work, and then we don't have, then places won't be operating at full capacity, which is never good for our production anyway. So yeah, so I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. I think that's a super great way, especially if you have no money and you want to, just level up your industry real quick in your city real quick. I would highly recommend doing that. But like I said, in our case, we're broke, so we got to take things a little slow and just kind of wait to see once we get some cash. All right, so I actually think this just about wraps up the episode for today. I'm I know it might probably a little bit shorter than some of the other ones, which is fine by me. And hopefully I'm sure you guys don't mind as well. But yeah, we actually did a lot of what I wanted to do. It's actually starting to look like a proper downtown in some aspects. And I think, as the money keeps flowing in, you know what? I'm actually going to do something real quick before we end that people have been bugging me to do for so long. I'm going to raise the taxes. And I'm not going to go quite to 12%, but I am going to go to 11% because everybody was raving about, oh, you got to set your taxes to 12% because people are willing to pay it and you'll make a lot more money. So we're actually going to try it. We're going to try raising the taxes and seeing if that actually helps us bring in a little bit more cash, because we need it for some of, bigger problems require bigger solutions. And we are definitely getting into the point of development where we're going to need some, we need a central station. We need to set up a public transit network. We're probably going to need to look at some of the road hierarchy and maybe upgrading some of these roads. And while they might bump out some of these zones and reduce some of the space, it'll be much needed as the city is growing, especially this one. I feel like this road here is going to be one of the big projects in one of the big main roads in the city. So yes, we'll come back to that. I think I'm going to have a whole episode of public transit and, road upgrading and stuff like that. And then I want to have another episode where we, kind of get some of our industry going here, as all this is, expanding and the demand is obviously very high. So not sure what the next one will be, but thank you guys for watching. Before I sign off, the fun fact of the day is I actually just purchased a guitar, which is very, very fun. I have been a drummer for 15 years and counting. And, it's kind of time for actually longer than 15 years now, but yeah, it's time for a new challenge. And I'm super excited to have, my brother is actually a pretty good guitar player. And so we have tons of guitars in the house, but, I kind of wanted my own, something that, just have some pride in having my own instrument. And that's just an instrument that I've always wanted to learn. And so now I kind of reached a point with drums where, I don't feel like I need to, not that you can never stop learning, but I just, I'm kind of learning more, I'm just kind of learning at my own pace, and just, there's always more to learn and more fun songs to play. But for the time being, it's time to take up a new challenge, and having my own guitar will definitely fit the bill. So I'm super excited to get it. It's a G&L Telecaster, ASAT Classic, and got it for a good price. It's a beautiful looking guitar. It's emerald blue with a red turtle shell pickguard. And if you know anything about guitars, the G&Ls are very similar to Fender, Fender models. So they make a Strat model, they make a Telecaster model. So the G&L is sort of, some people say it's sort of like a budget Fender, but I also have people such as my brother who strongly disagree and would put a G&L up against a Fender any day and say that, believe that you actually get a little bit more value for the price. So they are a little bit cheaper because they're not all made in America. They definitely don't lack in value, and they're still very, very quality instruments. So I'm very happy with my purchase. Like I said, I am a drummer, so no need to go and spend a stupid amount of money on a guitar, but it's definitely a very good instrument for me to start learning on, and I'm very, very excited. So I'll keep you guys posted on the progress of my musical endeavors. But in the meantime, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.